Hello, it's Charles Fockaert, October 19, 2018. I welcome all of you. Thank you for your support of this channel. This video is on gold and silver as money during times of hyperinflation and the ongoing collapse of the Federal Reserve note, which we are now experiencing not only worldwide but here in the United States. There was a fellow on, I think it was BitChute, and him and I are having a back and forth, and I want to put that on the screen so you can read it, and then I also want to make some comments about it. I want to show you some other articles, but first let's go listen to Mr. Greek and his opinion in a field that he obviously knows nothing about.
And you know, if the shit hit the fan and the infrastructure fell and the grocery stores weren't getting food and I had some food and you came to me with gold, your gold's useless to me. Your gold is useless. Gold is useless. When the system falls, gold is useless.
So there you have it. Gold is useless, but maybe not, because right after he said that, he said this.
I'm going to take your gold. I'm going to take your gold. I'm going to take your gold.
So, what do you make of that? Confusion, right? If something's useless, why would you take it? Anyway, I want to go on. There's a misconception here of what I'm talking about. Let's go have a look at that comment over on BitChute, shall we? Alrighty, we're over here at my channel on BitChute, and I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to read a little bit of this. This is my video on when I comment on gold. Is gold useless or is gold money? And let's just go down here to the first comment, and that's right here. Gold is useless in SHTF scenarios. There is zero chance if the nukes fly and all farming stopped and all industrial activity and people were starving. There is zero chance that if people were starving, I'd give any of my food for a chunk of metal unless it's bullets or a mechanical part I could use. Well, first of all, I'm not talking about nuclear holocaust. I'm not talking about there's a difference between economic collapse and nuclear holocaust, like he's talking about, if the nukes fly. First of all, I don't even think there is such a thing as nukes. Now, that's a whole nother topic, and some of you are going to, your eyes are going to go back in your head, and you're going to go, this guy's a real nut. Well, prove to us, give us the evidence that there are nukes, okay? Anyway, so I'm not talking about that. Sure, he admits this. Sure, once farming starts again, and years later, hoard of gold will likely become a standard for exchange again. But in the days, months, and years following a true global SHTF scenario, nope, it will be barter for essential things. Well, I disagree, because barter is very inefficient. Barter is very inefficient, and I say that, gold and silver has been money for thousands of years. You'll be able to trade the gold and silver for whatever it is you need. What if you have something someone wants but he has nothing you want? That's what money is for, real money, which gold and silver are. He continues, and by the way, I want to say something about this guy's username here, Poop Eater. Now, why I'm even spending time, I got to thinking about this later. See, I'm using my real name. I'm going on the record with what I think. Now, this Poop Eater, which kind of gives you an idea what kind of a guy, I mean, who would use an avatar called Poop Eater? I have no idea. But that's what we're working with here. See? So he can be wrong. He can be wrong, and nobody's going to call him to account because they don't know who he is. He's Poop Eater. He's not the guy that you're going to talk to at work, right? What exactly am I supposed to do with a bar of gold after World War III? Well, I'm not talking about after World War III. Alrighty. So let's go on. He goes, okay, what exactly am I supposed to do with a bar of gold after World War III? I'm not talking about a nuclear exchange. Okay? Economic collapse, which is what is going on in Venezuela, which actually is a currency collapse there, and economic collapse because nothing's working, are completely different scenarios. Let me back up. Economic collapse and global nuclear war, World War III, global starvation situation are completely different scenarios. Are they not? Not once have I mentioned precious metals in the scenarios you present. And gold and silver and money. I'm not going to read this. You can read it. It's on the screen. I'm going to continue on, not to make this a long video. I will say that, yes, money makes terrible food, but food makes terrible money. You can't barter a bag of hamburgers, perishable hamburgers, for what you need, like a ticket, which is what's going on in Venezuela. I read an article, and I read the whole thing, and they always take the women and a child, and they want to leave Venezuela. They've only got $6, and I don't know if that was U.S. money. Obviously, it was U.S. money. They somehow got their hands on some U.S. currency, and they're looking for a ride. They got to go over a high mountain to go into Colombia, and no one will give them a ride. They're having trouble because that money is not enough for the risk they have to take, and so they can't get where they want to go. Now, the point I want to make here, and what a lot of people miss, is that these people that they're always used as their example are very, very poor people. They have no money. There's holes in the bottom of their shoes. They don't have a means to get anywhere. They don't have a car. They don't have fuel for the car. And they're on foot, and they've got to go hundreds of miles over adverse conditions. And that's the examples we're given. They're not showing you the upper crust of Venezuela, which is probably not going through as hard of times as are those on the lower echelon, on the bottom of the rung. Okay? The price of gold I bring up here is, I can't even, what is this? 300 million Venezuelan bolivars. So 1 ounce of gold is now worth 300 million. Now, that example I gave you of the mother and the girl, the 12-year-old daughter, needing a ride, don't you think they'd be able to get a ride if they had 300 million of their increasingly worthless local currency, the Venezuelan bolivar? And it would be better if they had small pieces of silver. Because, see, that's what people don't get. The United States, and I don't know why Americans don't get this, older Americans especially, all we had when I was a young boy was silver for our coins, and we had redeemable certificates that you could go to the bank. And my father, I remember at least once that he took me into a bank with a silver certificate and traded it in for a silver coin. My dad was very economically astute, very good businessman, very good with numbers. He understood money. But let's go on. I'm saying gold is money. Silver is money. And they will buy what they need much, much longer than fiat currency and much, much easier than trading. If you want to barter, fine. But how, you know, and a lot of women are going into prostitution down there. What's that woman supposed to do if she wants a ride? Yeah, she's supposed to offer her body in exchange for a ride? Come on. If she had a silver coin, she would have been able to get a ride. Let's move on. Okay, the guy in the video, he's talking about William Fink. He's talking about infrastructure failed. That isn't a simple economic collapse scenario. Yeah, it is, because that's what's going on in Venezuela. That's what happened in Zimbabwe. That's what happened in Weimar, Germany in the 1920s. If the dollar collapsed in the U.S., we would still have refineries, yeah. We would still have factories producing tractors, maybe, if the men or the women in the factories were going to get paid. See, the credit collapse. What's going to happen here is the whole world system now is based on what? Being in debt. Debt here, debt there, debt everywhere. What, a factor of 100 times worse than 2008? 2008 was a wake-up call, and a lot of these countries, Hungary, for example, has now got 31 tons of gold. Now, why are they accumulating their gold in Hungary? Why did Germany want their gold back? Why is Russia and China accumulating gold? Okay, I don't think you people get it. And if you go along with some of these guys that are telling you that gold and silver is worthless, you're going to be like these poor people in Venezuela that can't buy what they need. And remember, we're not talking about a nuclear holocaust scenario. And I'll just put this on the screen. You can read it if you'd like. I want to go on to something else. And let's go do that now. Okay, we're in Forbes magazine, and it says, wait, this is August 6th, 2018, what, a couple months ago. Wait until you see the price of gold in Venezuela right now. Paper money eventually returns to its intrinsic value, 0. And this guy, Poop Eater over there at BitChute comment, he kind of thinks, I get the opinion that he thinks that United States is immune to the laws of economics, and I can assure you we're not. So let me pause it here. Last month, in Venezuela's capital city of Caracas, a cup of coffee would have set you back 2 million bolivars. That's up from 2,300 bolivars 12 months ago, meaning the price of a cup of Joe has jumped nearly 87,000%, according to Bloomberg's Cafe con Leche Index. And you thought Starbucks was expensive. By the way, Starbucks is closing quite a few their shops, coffee shops in Europe. But that was the price in July. Prices in Venezuela are doubling roughly every 18 days. The IMF projects inflation to hit an astronomical 1,000,000% by the end of the year. Let's scroll down, and that's like it was in the Germany's in 1920s. It says, and is Zimbabwe, and let's go down here. Gold could save your life. So where does this put gold? At some point, hyperinflation gets so ludicrously out of control that discussing exchange rates becomes pointless. But as of July 30, an ounce of the yellow metal would have gone for 211 million bolivars. An increase. See, what's happening is the value of gold isn't so much going up. It is going up in relation to the local currency here in Venezuela, but it's the value of the currency which is going down. And gold is a store of value, and that's what a lot of people don't get. There's an increase in gold in the Venezuelan currency of 3,000,000%. And he says, my point in bringing this up is to reinforce the importance of gold's fear trade, which says that demand for the yellow metal rises when inflation threatens to destroy a nation's currency, as it is doing right now in Venezuela. A Venezuelan family that had the prudence, had the foresight, had the knowledge, and acted on it to store some of its wealth in gold would be in much better position today to survive or escape President Maduro's corrupt far-left regime. In extreme cases like this, gold could literally help save lives. Such was the case. Thing doesn't want to stop when I want it to stop. Such was the case following the fall of Saigon. See, he's giving you examples, which I've read these examples before. Such was the case following the fall of Saigon in 1975. If not for gold, many South Vietnamese families may not have managed to escape the country. A seat on one of the thousands of fleeing boats reportedly went for 8 or 10 taels of gold per adult, 4 or 5 taels per child. A tael is slightly more than an ounce. Gold was their passport. See that? Gold was not worthless. Gold was not useless. Thanks to the precious metal, tens of thousands of Vietnamese boat people, as they are now known, were able to start new lives in the U.S., Canada, Australia, and other developed white Caucasian nations. Now, I'm not peddling gold. I don't have gold. All the gold that I have is inside my mouth, and for the most part. But so don't think I've been accused of hawking gold, as if using and promoting God's money, Yahweh's money, is some kind of a sin. There's the point I want to make, there's some people out there that don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they ought to just stick with their subject, that they do know what they're talking about, and stop acting like they know everything, because they don't. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for your support of this channel. And may the God, the creator of gold and silver, Yahweh, may his grace be upon us all. For, as you can tell, everybody knows, everybody's talking about the coming economic collapse. And it is coming here to the United States, whether you think it is or not. Fiat currency always, without exception, goes to its intrinsic value, which is zero. The interest rate's going back up now because inflation is picking up. Every time I go buy something, I can see the inflation rate's picking up. And I even read where the price of a barrel of oil might go to $400 in U.S. currency. Why? Because the U.S. currency is being inflated. They're creating trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars, Federal Reserve notes. Put the triple parentheses around that. And that's why we're in the situation we're in, because nobody can talk, nobody can name, nobody can point out the elephant in the room, because if you do, you're considered an anti-Semite. And a lot of these well-known, with the names, the smartest people in the room, the smartest people on the internet, the smart ones that think they got it all figured out, they never go near the subject, because they'd lose their following, they'd lose their income, they'd lose their elevated position in our society, and those are the same people that are controlling the Federal Reserve and controlling our economy and controlling the petrodollar. They're the ones now that are banning us and removing our accounts, give us strikes. They don't want the truth out there, and I'm doing what I can to go all the way to the top of the ladder, on the top rung of the ladder, to get the truth out there to you. Don't listen to these people that are telling you that gold is useless, because they don't know what they're talking about. May Yahweh's grace be upon us all, for we certainly need it. See ya.
I'm going to take your gold. I'm going to take your gold. I'm going to take your gold.